What is up, YouTube? So we're gonna do a video on the boat here. It's been a while since we've done one. Done a lot of work to it and upgrades, and this will segue into a second video I'll be doing on like what to look for if you're buying a used boat versus spending 60, 70,000 on a new modern boat. So I mean, there's pros and cons to both. So this is a 1996 Cajun Fishing Ski, and it has an 88 Johnson Special on it. The good thing when I got this boat is it used to be my dad's boat. He ended up a lot of carbon buildup, broke a ring on the top cylinder here, and pretty much grenaded the engine. So this is a new power head we put on. I can't remember the company's name. It's a 3-year-old engine now, and had no problems with it. I just did a compression check. It's all over 125 to 130. So we've put a brand new power head on. The other things we did to this is obviously new wires. I put new coils on last year. New rectifier, which is your charging system. We rebuilt the carburetors last year as well. And that was pretty much it. I reused the carburetors, the intake, and the wiring harness off the original motor. You basically just get a long block. I did coolant hoses here and here, or water hoses, whatever you want to call them, and then the thermostats my dad replaced not long before the motor blew up. Another thing that happens with these is this is your exhaust housing and water jacket cover. These are notorious to leak. We went through like 3 gaskets on it, and it's been good now. I put some RTV up in the top corner where it tends to leak at, so that if you have an 88 Johnson Special, these are very known to leak. I also put a new starter on it over here as well, because the original starter went out. The 88 Johnson Specials they're great motors. As long as you do the maintenance on them, they'll last forever and run good quality 2-stroke oil in it. I run AMS oil. So that pretty much takes care of what we did here to the motor. I don't think I'm missing anything else. The other thing that we did, like I said, a lot of this stuff will segue into when you're buying a used boat. The water pump, believe it or not, was 25 years old before we replaced it. Now this boat was never ran in salt water, only fresh water. So we ended up putting another water pump on it. Another issue we ran into is down here, it looks really dirty because we were just running the engine tuner through, which cleans all the carbon out of the engine, and it's actually sitting now for 30 minutes till we fire it back up. I had a little bit of oil leaking out of the prop seal behind the prop. And what ended up happening is the lower unit oil was getting water in it back into here. So a good point I'll just say with regards to that is, if you live in cold weather climate, always drain your lower unit oil before winter, because if there is water in it, you run the risk, if you let it sit over winter, that it will expand and crack your gear case. So essentially we had to pull the lower unit out. I'll kind of go through a video on that. I have the old water pump. I can kind of show some stuff with that, but there's a few seals in it. There's a seal behind here. It's your prop seal. Can't see it without me taking the lower unit off, and I don't ever plan on doing that again. It's a double seal. One's to keep water out, and the other one's to keep the oil in. And then you have another seal where your drive shaft comes down from the motor, goes into the water pump, and goes into the gear case, and that is also a double seal. And then you have an O-ring that sits on the back of your shift rod, which goes up through the back of the motor and into your gear linkage by the carburetor. So we ended up rebuilding, putting all new seals in it. And like I said, I'll touch more on it, but when you do lower unit seals, you get a vacuum or pressurized gauge. So once you're done putting your seals in, you pressurize the lower unit to 16 psi or 18 psi, varies person to person, and then you let it sit for 3 hours and see if it's holding that pressure inside the gear case, and that means everything is sealed really good. So that essentially takes care of what we did here with the motor, the lower unit, and the water pump. And I mean, a lot of that stuff is general maintenance as your motor gets older. The trailer, we didn't do too much stuff to. We put LED brake lights on and LED lights down there. And then we also did the boat buckles, which are really nice. All you do is, they're basically like seat belts. So, and then you can cinch them down. The old ones were, did not like them. So we ended up putting boat buckles on it. So that takes care of what we did with the engine, the lower unit, the water pump, and I believe the engine cost $2,600 for a rebuilt power head, and then the water pumps are like $60. The seal kits are getting harder to find for the lower units, at least locally at the parts store. So the two strokes are very easy to work on for the most part, and as long as you have a little bit of mechanical knowledge, the stuff itself isn't too expensive. The next few things we did is, obviously I run these NGK spark plugs and replace them once a year. So this had you can't see it in the video, but tucked under here is I have a 24 volt trolling motor system, which is not the factory trolling motor system. I have a Minn Kota 60-pound thrust up front. So we converted this to 24 volt system, and then down in there is a trickle charger or battery tender for the trolling motor batteries. Because that was already in here, I just added that trickle charger for the starting battery as well. So I can just plug it in and leave it, kind of like a modern boat. And then I added rear hold lights right here and on the other side. One lake we fish, they don't have electric at the docks, and we do a lot of nighttime striper fishing sometimes. So when I come in at night, I want to pull the trolling motor batteries to charge them. It's a pain in the butt because I couldn't always see what I was doing and trying to hold a cell phone light, all that stuff. So we added them to see. Also, the other thing I forgot is that's a stainless steel, I believe it's a 19 pitch prop, or 17. And then I have a spare aluminum prop that is one pitch lower than that one. So that's about the maximum you can put on this boat. So that is some of the stuff we did back here. We also recarpeted the boat in sections. So my dad had redid this deck, this flip deck, not that long ago. So I didn't really want to recarpet it. That's why it's a bit of different color. So we recarpeted the rear deck here and all the hatch lids and the front deck. And then, as you can see, the original seats were starting to rot out in the back. So we replaced them with these seats here. And then there was a center seat there. We ended up taking that out and putting another storage compartment on here, because the older fishing skis, now if you get a bass boat, it's a little different. The storage is okay in here, but we added some storage so we have some stuff to do. As you can see right here and over on that side, I added vertical rod holders so we can hold 6. That way it keeps it out of your feet area. That is a ski locker. We tried to devise different ways to put rods in there with PVC pipe. It just never really worked out. And then that hatch cover that's off right there, that used to be a walk-through, and we ended up building the top there and enclosing that also for more storage and more front deck space. Again, this is a 17-foot boat. It's not a bass boat, so the front deck is not as big as I would want it to be. We also added a Lowrance hook fish finder, just something small. Eventually I might put a bigger electronics up front, because that's an old Garmin I'm running up front. So that takes care of pretty much what was done in here. I am going to get a 3D printed gauge backing right there because it's starting to crack, and that was one of the last things I wanted to do. I also put bearing buddies on right here, which are great for trailering. As the grease wears out, it continues to push fresh grease into the bearings. They're really good. A lot of your new boats have that. Moving along here, up front here, there was cushions here and on that side, and then these you could flip out, and there was cushions on the back side. So we ended up taking the cushions off just so I can have more storage and the cushions aren't hitting my tackle. And then we added these hooks, that way you can easily pull it up more. We added this here. So what this is this switch is for my rear hold lights, and then we added a cell phone charger because this boat obviously didn't come with cell phone chargers. And you can't really see it during the day, but this is a strip of light going around here. It's a red LED light. That way when we're night fishing, red doesn't really mess with your night vision too much, and you can just see what you're doing more. And then over where the other cushion was at, I added a tool holder over there. And then, like I said, redid the front carpet here and all these hatches. And again, this was done prior, and the carpet was newer, so we didn't replace this. And again, it's a fishing boat. It's not a show boat. It's 27 years old, so it's actually really happy with how this turned out. So like I said, I have a Minn Kota Edge. I actually hate this trolling motor. It's only a couple of years old. This pull strings give me all kinds of problems. I ended up replacing it. Well, what happens is when you pull up on this, it pulls up on this bottom piece, and that's how it unhooks. Well, there's a spring in here, and the spring broke. Well, there's no way to get the spring out. You literally have to drive these pins out and do all kinds of stuff I don't want to do to replace that piece through Minn Kota. So the trolling motor itself is great. I've had no problems with it. It's just the bracket and how it works I do not like. So we kind of just have it rigged for now because, like I said, I don't feel like buying a $1,200 trolling motor. It would be nice because you get iPilot on it, but this is not my forever boat. This is a boat to, last this. It has a lot of sentimental value to me because I grew up learning how to fish on this boat, but I would eventually like to get a Lund Impact or a Tracker Targa deeper V boat that can handle big water. So yeah, this is an old school Garmin I have up front. Like I said, I wouldn't mind getting bigger graphs. I could ram mount them here. Don't always like drilling into the fiberglass, or I could figure something out here, but I like keeping the little bit of front deck space I have available. And yeah, so this is a bigger pound thrust trolling motor. Like I said, it's a Minn Kota Edge. The trolling motor itself's been fantastic, and it's plenty for this 17-foot boat. And then one of the last things we did is I did a new boat winch strap. The other one was pretty sun beaten and just needed to get replaced. So that is most of the things we did on this boat. We did a lot of other things like deep cleaning the live wells. It has a front live well and a rear live well on that side, but for a almost to be 28-year-old boat, it is still in really good shape. I always love the paint scheme on this. You don't see too many cajuns anymore because they stopped making them. This was last year. They made them in '96, and it serves our purposes really good for what we want. I get 40 miles an hour out of this boat, and it's lasted really good. So this video will segue eventually into what to look for when you buy a used boat. Like I said, because my father owned this boat, I knew that the bones of the boat were good. There was no rot in anything besides the seats. A a few of the seats. The transom's in phenomenal shape. I knew the motor was obviously shot, but you know, he just put that new trolling motor on it, converted over to 24-volt system, and like I said, the boat itself is in really good shape. We ended up spending a lot of time last year buffing it and getting some of the can't think of what it's called, but you get like the fiberglass gets like a cloudiness over it. So it had a little bit of that on it. We took it out. The interior was in decent shape. The carpet was just coming up in some places. So the wonderful woman filming this video, she ended up doing the majority of the carpet, and we'll kind of do a video on the how we did the carpet and the lower unit seals and the water pump. And like I said, I do have the old water pump for demonstrational purposes. The carburetors are really simple to rebuild. And then I'll do another video on like maintenance and the things we use, just in case you only watch this video. This is oil and two-stroke oil I end up running in it, AMS oil. I really like this stuff, and I have a compression gauge for the boat to check the compression. And like I said, the NGK spark plugs I do really like. Part number is BR6HS. And then I run like carbon guard in the fuel every fill up. It cuts down on the carbon, and then every year I run the mercury engine tuner through it, and that basically cleans all the carbon up in the engine, and then I change the plugs afterwards. So that's a general overview on this 1996 cajun fishing ski with an 88 Johnson Special. Like I said, I'll segue. I'll make another video in a week or so about what to look for in used boats. I do like the specials. The only thing that made these specials from the other Johnson and Evinrudes is the special stood for it was mix your own oil. They didn't have the VRO or VHRO system, which it injects the oil into the engine. Those failed a lot, and then you're not getting the lubrication that you need into the engine. A lot of people deleted them and ran it like the special did, where you just mix your own oil. So I'll kind of go through what to look for when you're buying a used boat in the next video, and then I'll go through like general maintenance that we do on this every year or something with the two-stroke. If you treat your boat really good, now this is garage kept as well, that's why it's still in really good condition. If you take care of the motor, you do the maintenance, you pay attention to things that you need, you can buy a used boat, save yourself a lot of money from buying a new boat. You don't have as many as a creature comforts as a newer boat, but you save a lot of money and you can still get on water and fish. So I hope this video helps someone. This is kind of an overview of what we did with this used boat to bring it into a more modern thing with more storage and new motor and new parts and carpeting and seats and cell phone chargers and just stuff to make it more modern, as modernized as you can make a 96 fishing ski. So yeah, I hope this video helped. The next video will be on what to look for when buying used boats. So till next time, YouTube, thanks.